Hello
and welcome to
Shh Don't Tell Mum. My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the #1 parenting podcast in the world.
Don't Google that.
So, this is something very different. I know that we did an episode like this for our previous one last week. You should go and check that out if you haven't already.
It's a really good one, and it's really...
Groovy.
No, not groovy, but very personal, that one. That's quite a personal episode.
It is quite a personal one. Now, this episode that you're about to watch is going to be completely different to something that you just haven't seen anything like this on our show yet. This is, in fact, the pilot episode for Shhh Don't Tell Mum.
I'm so excited for you guys to see this. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the original concept for Don't Tell Mum was going to be that it was going to be me interviewing other dads, so dads talking to other dads about stuff that maybe that we wouldn't tell our partners, hence the name Don't Tell Mum. And the idea was that I would have a guest on every single week, and then we just quickly figured out that having guests on every single week, given what we were doing at the time and having such a young baby, it just wasn't conducive to our lifestyle. So being able to actually have guests on, rely on their schedules, rely on our own schedules as well, because mine and Jamie's schedules are quite sporadic. It was quite tough to stick to, so we figured we should just continue doing the podcast together as a couple, and then we just kind of kept the name.
Well, we kept the name, but we kind of changed it slightly by adding the shush because we didn't realize that there were so many other podcasts called Don't Tell Mum. So that's where shush was introduced into the scene, even though Barney's still not keen on the shush.
I'm really not, but I'm open about that, so that's fine. Everyone knows that I'm not, so whatever, it's fine. I think that this episode that you're about to listen to is with a guy called Pax Baldwin. He's a really lovely guy. He's actually a friend of mine and Jamie's, and he agreed to do the pilot episode with me. He's got an incredible story, an incredible history, and his life has just been really unique, to say the least.
So we're really excited to show you this one. I said this can't go wasted because it's such a funny episode. And if you love it, please remember to comment and subscribe and give this podcast a rating because it really, really, really helps. You have no idea. Shh, don't tell Mum.
All the way from Disney to death-defying, please welcome to the Don't Tell Mum podcast. It is Pax Baldwin. How's it going?
Did a show on Disney Channel UK. Oh, it's making me shiver even thinking about it. Cut your chest off, peel your chest away, pull your rib cage up and massage your heart with their hand. To see someone who's relatively whole and looking all right to ending up with your fucking chest off, someone's holding your heart. It's so graphic that it's almost like not real. Your vagina's been stitched inside, or something inside rip, so they had to like...
doing that
No, I was trying to like picture how are you having sex that soon after.
Yeah. Dad saves the day! Comes out of right side of the screen. Yeah. Right. Shh, don't tell Mum. Hello and welcome to Don't Tell Mum. This is the #1 parenting podcast in the world. Don't Google that fact. We explore the world of parenting through Dad's eyes, and we are here to educate, to entertain, and to enthuse many young and old parents of all shapes and sizes. So today marks the first episode of this podcast, and I am joined by my first ever guest who his entire life was a performer, and now he fights fires. I think that's probably the most varied career choice you could ever have. All the way from Disney to death-defying, please welcome to the Don't Tell Mum podcast. It is Pax Baldwin. How's it going, mate? Woo!
Oh, I never knew you was going to say that. Rat.
How do you feel now?
Good.
Sweaty?
Happy to be here. Happy to not be performing anymore.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, good to be here, mate.
I mean, I said in the intro, in that beautiful intro, from Disney to death-defying, I'm sure a lot of people watching this are going to be like, should I recognise his face? Disney. You were on Disney.
Yeah, many
Talk to me a little
moons
bit about
ago,
this.
Many moons ago. Performer my whole life from 5 years old. Did the old circuits, did the old theatre circuits as a child. Disgusting look. Oh, it's making me shiver even thinking about it. But yeah, then when I was about, how old was I? I must have been 12 or 13. Did a show on Disney Channel UK called As the Bell Rings. And then from that got sent to America to do a little bit over there for the worldwide Disney.
Wow. I mean, is it as big and as scary, as daunting as kind of everyone says? Because, I mean, having that experience in acting from a young age, but then going on to something like Disney, does everything just scale up?
Yeah, it just felt like mad, like not controlled, but you know, like, I don't know if you heard rumours, but like whenever you're in like a Disney building, like you're not meant to swear, you're not meant to... Do you know what I mean? Like there's this real protective image of Disney where you're literally meant to be like a golden child. So there was that additional pressure. Like I think there was about 10 of us in the cast, so everyone was always flapping, making sure like no one's going to do anything wrong, or do you know what I mean? Because there's that extra added thing. And when we went to America, it's like scaled up times 1,000, because the kids over there are like white teeth, perfect haircuts, like they are proper Disney kids, do you know what I mean? Whereas I'm a little gypsy from Telford, so I just broke through the fence.
Not as little Mary Poppins kids with crooked teeth.
Literally,
like, hello, son.
That's what I felt like. I felt like an orphan from London going across the pond and being over there just like, hi, welcome to America.
Wow. Well, you were part of Disney for, a little while, and then you moved on to another show in the UK.
This is horrible.
And I know, I just knew that you'd cringe so hard at all this. So Callum, can I beckon you over here to play our first clip of the day so that Pax can relive this fantastic clip?
Oh my God, no! Oh, Jesus. What a show. Oh my God.
Can you talk us through what this is? This is indeed Paradise Cafe.
Soul destroying. That is my best friend's favourite clip ever. That's all I ever hear. Just, hi, I'm Robbo. It was actually, looking back, it's horrendous, obviously, because it's just like a weird kid show about ghosts. But we filmed it on a desert island and in New Zealand. And we did 2 series. So when I was 16 and 18, I got to go out to like New Zealand and this weird little desert island in the Pacific for like 4 months a pop.
So it's more about the experience than anything.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to shoot something.
Yeah,
and
I would have
shot
anything out there. Do you know what I mean? I would have done anything. But yeah, no, wicked experience. Loved everyone on it. But looking back, like, it is horrendous to be in your 30s and been part of like a kids show.
Of course. But I mean, who else can say that? Now, moving kind of from that, but not too far from that, Pax. On YouTube, there's this incredible account called Pax Baldwin Fans on YouTube. I mean, you got a fan account, so yeah. I mean, cheers
Probably
to
not,
that. Let's find this little clip that we found as well of you. Please
a little Pizza Hut advert.
That's right. You did a Pizza Hut commercial.
Profiterole rolls.
So talk us through. Was this shot in the UK? Was this in the States? Was
shot in the UK. I can't remember where. Somewhere near Croydon, because that's where the newest Pizza Hut was that we filmed in. But there's a bit where I eat a profiterole and it like spills on me. But this bit, I had to eat literally about 50 profiteroles to the point where I was actually feeling sick. And you know when everyone's like, "Oh, hey, lucky you eating all the profiteroles," ooh, and I was like, "No, guys, I actually want to be sick. Like my stomach cannot take any more." I can't believe you found all this. I thought I was able to delete it all.
Well, this is one of those things. Like, I have friends that have done McDonald's commercials before, and what they don't tell you is that you biting into that burger, which looks incredible on set, actually that's 25 takes of that.
Yeah.
Like a guy that I know did like a McChicken sandwich one, and he said after the 4th bite, I had to just bite, and then when they shouted cut, I spit it into a bin. I was like, that is grim.
And it's not even normally like, it's not even like a proper McChicken sandwich, is it?
It's like
it's got like a weird little cold cover on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they fake the steam coming off of it in the actual commercial. So while you're actually here, of course, Don't Tell Mum podcast, you're a dad.
I am.
And so when did this happen? How old is your child and what's his or her name?
So it happened quite a while ago. But he was born on the June last year.
Okay. And what's his name?
His name's Maddox, and he's a little boy. He identifies as a little boy.
He identifies as a little boy?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. 3 words. Tell me what best describes him in 3 words.
Energetic. Easily annoyed.
Easily annoyed.
Yeah.
Okay, short temper.
Not short temper, but just like, he's just easily like annoyed by, like if he'll come and climb up on me and then get down and walk off. So when he comes next to me, I'll like put him on my lap because I think I'm doing you a favour here because you're not able to like easily climb up. I'll help you out in this situation. If I lift him up and put him on there, he's like, gets down, storms off, climbs back, and then will want to climb up himself. But I'm like, it's inconvenient for me for you to be like grabbing everywhere and pulling yourself up. Just let me donk you up. But he's hyper. He's mad at the moment. He's all like eyes wide from the moment he wakes up, charging around everywhere. But like I said, he's easily frustrated, I reckon. I think he's got a lot of pent-up energy at the moment that we're trying to burn off every day. But if we don't manage to, then it's frustration stations.
I mean, a good way to burn off energy would be to get into performing. We've already spoken about you being a Disney kid and doing all the CBBC stuff growing up. What's your view on child acting? Would you get him into it? Is there a reason, like yes or no?
I think, to be honest with you, he can do what he wants. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will support him in whatever avenue he wants to go down, as long as it's not something mad that I completely disagree with.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
of course.
Like I said, I ain't acted since I was about 18, I don't think. 18, 19. So it might have all changed now. It might be 10 times worse. It might be 10 times better. It might, do you know what I mean? I guess it's a completely different industry right now. But if that's what he wants to do, then like I'll back him 100% and hopefully be able to guide him a little bit and right some wrongs and stop certain things happening and just kind of make it a smoother path for him if that's what he wants to do.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? It's all about like the guidance, because if you didn't have that going in as like a Disney kid and stuff, then you can obviously go down the wrong path. We've seen Macaulay Culkin, we've seen the people that are like mega child stars that have progressed into, you know, being a bit lost in their later life. How would you be as an industry dad? If you were like a Disney kid's dad, is it kind of stopping certain things from happening? Because, you know, they're kind of, it's easy to get roped into doing stuff, basically, especially with child actors and parents who want their child to succeed. That's a tough thing.
I think I would, unless it was something like drastic where I felt I've got to step in here, I would want to just blend into the background. Okay. I wouldn't want to be, like, I would almost not want people on the set and that to know I was
Disney dad.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I would just want them to go, oh, that's your dad. I never even put two and two together. Like, I'd want it to be his moment, his little thing that he's doing, and I'm literally just there to make sure he stays alive and nothing bad happens to him. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be like getting involved and checking his makeup, checking his costume, making sure everything's like up to my standards. Do you know what I mean? I would just want to camouflage into the set, enjoy my like 3 cups of coffee all day, and just take a moment at the end of it. That would be my ideal scenario.
Well, a big part of growing up, as you know, is, you know, integration and social interaction with other kids and stuff. Do you have any nicknames growing up? Because I feel like this molds people when they're younger, from having like nicknames and having, you know, those little jabs of like sense of humor with your friends. Yeah, it kind of lightens you up and makes you a bit more of like an approachable person in a lot of ways. Did you have nicknames growing up, and what's the origin story? This is your superhero story right now, Pax.
I think because my name's Pax.
Okay.
I never really got nicknames. It was more just I was always questioned about my name, or people always get my name wrong. Okay. No one ever like, my mum used to call me Paxy Boy. Okay. But I'd never really had like not until I was older, I don't think, like fathead, like I've got a massive head. I've got a massive, you may not be able to tell because of the trickery of these cameras, but like
we've got a wide angle lens.
The distance from the back of my head to the front of my head is mad. Like hats, I have to buy like mad hats. Like, even in the fire brigade, I have to have my helmet has to be adjusted. They're like a standard one-size-fits-all helmet that you kind of just like twist to make either bigger or smaller. But I have to have it taken apart and the screws moved to allow for extra room because it literally crushes my head.
That is something
I learned. Big up Bristol Uniforms. Thank you for the helmet.
Big up Appreciate uniforms. It. I mean, mine was briefcase. Going into I know, acquired that nickname at 21, going from being a uni student, but also having gone to like a private school and then going into dancing with loads of performers who were like, because it was a big thing coming out of the in-betweeners, calling someone a briefcase wanker. So that was me. So I got briefcase. Really happy about that one. Moving on.
That is bad. Now I know that. I might have to add that into your phone.
There you go. You can.
Save your name.
Briefcase is calling me.
Barney Briefcase.
So a lot of people, right, moving into like parenting, such a varied person. Career-wise, personal life, everything, like moving on. You've got to have some unique twists to the way that you parent, I believe. So hacks that a lot of people might think, wow, I never thought to do that. Like dad hacks. Like if you want a bit of time to think, I can give you one of mine. I recently figured out if Rocket, my son, if he ever needs Calpol or anything like remotely like that, like medicine, I give it to him when he's in the bath. And the reason why is because he's calm, firstly, but second of all, especially with Calpol, if he decides to spit it out and his face gets all sticky, he's in the bath.
You're in the bath anyway.
Like, wash that shit off his face.
Yeah, but then if he's ill, aren't you going to be bathing him like 8 times a day?
Well, I mean, we haven't got to that point yet, so at the moment, it's just something that I found. And also, if you give him Calpol before going to bed, which is predominantly the amount when you normally give a kid Calpol, like gives them a better night's sleep, calms them down. then yeah, before bedtime, it's bath time. Bosh.
I like it.
Barney's
Luckily,
dad hack.
he'll swallow Calpol wherever he is.
Yeah.
Do you use the little
The
squirty
syringe.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He'll
still like, he's
take
only
that
8
wherever.
months.
Yeah.
So he's like, he just blasts it.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I do that he's never been a lay on his back and let you change him, ever.
Ooh.
Ever. He's always been like a fighter and a wriggler. And so now, as soon as he could muster the strength to like semi-stand up, or even just if you stood him up and he could stand there type thing, he's always preferred standing up when he's getting changed. So you have to kind of like crouch down with him and have him kind of standing against you and then do everything kind of backwards, if you know what I mean.
Jeez.
So you have to like undress him and then like clean him up and put... So we have to use the pull-up nappies.
Yeah.
But they were impossible to get in such a small size because it's normally like older
It's
babies
like
that
size
wear
4
them.
and up normally. Yeah.
So when he was smaller, they'd be like too baggy, so then there'd always be fucking shit and piss flying out of his nappies. Whereas now, size 4, I think he's getting to the top end of it.
So if you've got a wriggler,
Yeah. I'd
Pull on
say
nappies.
Stand up and pull on nappies. Or pull up nappies?
pull
on
up,
nappies?
yeah.
Whichever
And then
nappy
you
you
rip
want.
them at the sides when you want to get them
Yeah,
off. Like
that's
they
it.
just tear
But that
easily.
again
That's
is
the game
another
changer.
thing
Oh,
because they say tear easily, but if you've got a nappy that's filled with shit and piss, you've got to try and like hold the baby up still, rip one side, but if you rip the other side, which you need 2 hands to do, drops.
Yeah.
Which can
And
cause
then
all
everything
sorts
goes
of
everywhere.
splatters and things falling out. So it's the talent of being able to rip one side, still hold the nappy together on him whilst ripping the other side and then controlling the descent of the nappy.
I've just realised that this podcast, every single episode, is going to be talking about shit and
Yeah,
piss.
100%, mate. That's like 80% of our lives now.
It's so true. Yeah, I mean, it's 80% of my social media life as
Yeah.
well, is changing nappies.
Yeah.
So that's just clicked. Yeah. I mean, changing Rocket has been fine up until 6 months, and now it's full alligator roll. As soon as I lay him down, it's just whoa, he wants to be on his front, and he's just gone, and you can't grab hold of
But
him.
I don't know what's like, because obviously Maddox has always rolled and stuff, so we just kind of stood him up or did something different. But I don't know, because some people say you're literally meant, you can buy things to like pin them down, can't you?
What?
You can buy like I see
You
it
can
on,
buy stuff to pin
it was
them
on like
down while they
Dragon's
change.
Den or something, where you like, you're kneeling down and you like put something over them like a swaddle thing, and then you kneel like either side of
So
the
it just
thing,
pins
and
them
it, and
down.
it holds them down. And I was like I get it, it works, but like,
Seems a
surely a
bit-
bit harsh.
bit
Like,
harsh.
if they're going mental trying to
bit
like
cruel.
turn around and you're just kneeling on
Like
them.
in an insane asylum, and they're like
That's
trying
what
to
I
wiggle
mean.
them out.
But I feel like it's stuff like that as a parent. I never knew, like, is that all right? Like, is it all right to pin my son down when he's like trying, everything in his body is him trying to wriggle around? Am I all right just to go, no, mate, you ain't going anywhere?
It's weird. It's a thing that you've got to try and gauge as a parent, like where the lines are, because that's something that I'm navigating constantly, especially being present on stuff like social media or like TikTok, where the audience is like so judgmental, or like everyone's an expert. So like every other comment underneath everything that I post is kind of like, you've done this wrong. You should feed them this instead. This is the kind of nappies you should use. You haven't done this correctly. And I'm just like, I spend a lot of time ignoring it. And other times, if someone's being constructive in the comment, I don't mind. If they're like, we've done this before in the past and it's worked really well, why don't you give that a try? I'm like, yeah, I totally am up for that.
Yeah.
But when it's, you're wrong, I'm right, I've done this, you've done, I'm like, is he still breathing?
I feel like
then
that's
he's
a
fine.
weird, like, not a stigma, but that's something that I've found with parenting that's like, maybe it's obviously different on social media because keyboard warriors will say whatever
course,
they want.
yeah.
But I feel like whenever you talk to people that are pregnant, about to be pregnant, looking at having kids, have got kids, there's this weird, like, you want to be honest and you want to give like certain truths about things, but you also then don't want to like put someone off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if so like I remember when we got pregnant, Zach and Miranda, one of my best mates, Zach, and his missus got pregnant 8 weeks after us.
Yeah.
So we were always like just 8 weeks ahead, so we'd like go to a scan. I'd talk to him about the scan that's coming up. Do you know what I mean?
This
So
is
I was-
what's going to happen. Yeah, you've got a warning.
But then I found
pre-warning
myself
them.
like, once Maddox was born, and you go through everything, there were certain things that I was like, you're my best mate, so I would normally be diving into all these nitty gritty details and telling you like the hell that I've been going through for like 2 hours during the night or something.
Sure.
But because I know you've got it coming, I don't
Don't
want to
wanna-
like
damage control. It's
yeah,
basically
I don't want
damage
to put
control.
you off or like make you think something's going to be worse than it is, because everyone's take on it is so different.
Yeah.
So I could like, before you had Rocket, I could have been like, oh mate, the birth's going to be like this, it's going to be horrendous, and then you go through it and you sail through it and you're like, mate, I've just been shitting myself for 9 months thinking the birth's going to be horrendous. So I feel like there's this weird dance that you have to do as like a parent to like either new parents or other parents where you're like semi being like, oh God, life's tough, isn't it? Blah, blah, blah. But you don't really want to go into like the proper nitty gritty details in case they're like, oh, fuck, mate, they're struggling, aren't they?
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to scare people off.
But
and also, everyone's experience is like totally different and people handle things completely differently as well. I think that the one thing that's the easiest and probably the best thing to say to them is like, if you're really struggling, you can talk to people about it. That you're not the only one that struggles in these scenarios. Like, because everyone thinks that, going back to social media, that everything looks like it's plain sailing because you're filming it and editing it and it's fun and it's got music behind it. And actually, like, there are really tough times, man. Like, there are really stressful moments, which we will get to, don't you worry. One thing I wanted to talk to you about was just like something about being a parent and something about going into the world of parenthood. A lot of people anticipate that and like to tell each other, which is, again, something that is good to avoid, I think, is that all your life goals, all your aspirations, all your personal things that you set out to do as Pax has to be put on hold because you're becoming a parent. You have to dedicate like all your time to this unless you want an extremely hectic lifestyle and it'd be overcompensating or like mega stressful. How has becoming a dad impacted your own aspirations, your own goals? Or are you still striving out to achieve them? Or what have you maybe had to take a back seat on?
I think it's one of them, innit? Like you say, everyone's situation's different. I think our situation or my situation, my parents live 200 miles up north from where we live. Laura's parents live in Portugal. So her brother lives in LA, like my brother lives up north. So we haven't got immediate family like... You
haven't got a support network like that's immediately...
Like, and kind of our whole lives, like I moved away from Telford when I was like 7 or 8 to go to school in London, and then I'd go back at weekends. Then when I was like 16, moved down to London full time. Laura moved away from Hertfordshire, where we're living now, not Essex, to live in London with like her mates and work in London and do that kind of thing. So we've always kind of moved away from where we grew up and had that whole like living in London, being independent thing. And I think it was only when we had Maddox that we were like, how amazing would it be to live where you grew up with like your mum living around the corner, your nan living around the corner, your cousin lives too, do you know what I mean? And you've got like a support network. And even if it's not even to necessarily come around and do anything, it's just to talk to see, to like, do you know what I mean? To lighten that burden. So I feel like I had, what did I have, 2-3 weeks off paternity leave? So I had that off.
That's it.
Which got soaked up because he was in intensive care for like the first 10, 11 days. So then I only had a short bit after that to be at home. And then Laura's parents obviously come over from Portugal. My parents come down. But then when I went back to work, like her parents had to go back to Portugal. My parents had to go away. So then for her, that was like shock stations of literally going from everyone's here to now
no one's here.
And
you're at work doing like night shifts
and it's
stuff.
not like they're a phone call away, like they're in another country, they're 200 miles away. So she's obviously got her friends in Bishop Stortford, don't get me wrong, but I feel
it's not the same though. Like,
no, I
with
feel
a
like
mum and stuff, and like they can kind of take the reins. They've been through.
That's why I feel like when it comes to people's like goals and aspirations, depending on what kind of setup you've got locally, it can change. Like if our parents lived around the corner and blah blah blah, you can go and do way more stuff because you haven't got an organised stuff. You haven't got to try and plan it around naps or do this. I don't think my life has changed dreams and aspirations wise massively, because I've always wanted the same kind of things, to earn certain amounts and to have a certain lifestyle. If anything, it just kind of concretes it because you've got like almost another reason to do it. Or do you know what I mean? Like there's more of a purpose, there's more of a drive. It's not just like having a mortgage hanging over your head where you're like, oh, if I don't make this much, I ain't going to be able to afford that. It's like, if I don't make this much, I can't feed a human being that's now like relying on me.
Who's dependent on you. Exactly.
So I feel like it just kind of concretes everything and pushes you a bit further to do it. Although, on the flip side of it, it probably does make it harder to have that freedom and flexibility to want to go and do everything you might want to do. But I feel like that's... Same could be said about like relationships, do you know what I mean? Like as a... What am I now? 30? 31? 30, I think? I think I'm 30. I think I'm turning 31.
You've lost a year of your life.
As a 30-year-old male, I might have mad dreams to go like, I want to be able to go out every weekend, or I want to go and do this, or I want to go on holiday here. you get in a relationship and a bit of that gets skimmed off. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you've got to adjust to who you're with and what their lifestyle is, and do you know what I mean? There's certain compromises. So I feel like another bit of that gets skimmed off when you have a kid, because it's like, yeah, you can still go and do certain things. Your life doesn't stop, but you have also got a kid to like support, provide for, be there for. So I feel like there are definite restrictions in there. But the one thing that I say to everyone, you know, when we're talking about like giving people advice or doing, the one thing I say to everyone is, it will happen. Like, don't worry about it, because it's going to happen. Like, it's a human being that's dependent on you. So if you're having trouble changing them or doing this, or you don't know how much, like, it's going to happen, because it has to. You're going to do whatever you need to do in order for your baby to be all right and for you to be all right, because it's your life. So like, you'll find a way of getting through it.
You find a way, exactly. I think that's one of the key things to take away is like, you will find a way. Like, if you have a goal or like something that you've set your mind to, career-wise, personal-wise, whatever, you will make it happen if you want it. Like, also if you want it bad enough, because like, I feel like it's made me more driven being a dad, but I also think it's made me way more time efficient.
Yeah.
If I have to plan my day in between naps, it's like he's going down, right, I've got anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and 20 right now to get shit done. Like, whether it's housework, whether it's making videos, editing stuff, sending emails, whatever it is, you just become more time efficient. You make it happen. You'd be so surprised to find out how much you can get done in an hour when it's like your day depends on it.
Yeah. When you know you need to get it. The worst thing is prepping everything, ready to do it, thinking I'll get at least an hour out of this in like 20 minutes, and he wakes up and you're just like, I've lost 40 minutes of like crucial errand time that I'm now going to be behind and try and chop away at it during the week. But no, I agree. It definitely, I think I was quite organised anyway, I must say. I think I'm quite like organised day to day, but it's definitely made me more, even just shopping and stuff. You have to be able to get it done in a window, because otherwise, you know, he's got a poo on the way, and then you've got to get back, and he hates being in the car when he's done a poo. So
brown train's coming.
Yeah, literally left the station.
I think that for a lot of people, they can. It's very to each their own, and it's every single person's scenario is different. For you, you're a fireman. Like, not only do you have people depending on you at home, you got people depending on you at work. So those day-to-day goals, I guess, for someone in your position, probably have to get put on the back burner almost a bit more, because you have to be so on your shit when you're at work, especially if you're on a night shift and you've got to stay awake, stay on the ball. How's that impacted you, man?
From an outsider's point of view, like being a firefighter.
Sorry.
PC.
Fireman. I know, that's so not 2022 of me.
Mate.
Disgusting.
Discriminative. Being a firefighter, it's obviously a mad job, but when you've done it for a certain amount of time, it becomes your job. Do you know what I mean? So I know when I go to work, like, I just switch into not work mode, because I'm still me, but like it all just happens. Like, it's relatively routine for me now. So I don't feel like it's a mad change of like, I'm Pax, the dad, fun going, happy-go-lucky guy, and then I get to work and I'm like, no, I'm a firefighter. I must be focused and awake. And do you know what I mean? Like, I'm still me. It's just at the drop of a hat, we might get buzzed out the door to go to a fire, or probably like a smoke alarm going off at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't feel like I change or it affects me madly. I feel like it's probably the same as any job. Do you know what I mean? Because same with if you're going somewhere and you're presenting all day for 12 hours, your mind's on that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you've got to then be able to switch between Dad, Barney, and all this to then focusing on everything that on you for that day. The pressure is you've got to present and get this done, mate.